all the time, like, dude, get rid of those headlights. He's like, nah, they're cool. I'm like, no, they're not.
Hey,
dude.
nowadays, those lights would be sick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
OG, there were Dick CPEC lights. I don't know if you remember that, but the brand Dick CPEC, it was huge. I had two huge, and every time you give the throttle, it just light up the whole dude. it was
killing all your power. That's what it was doing.
Welcome back to the Industry Podcast. My name is Doug. We have some guests on the show today that have done a very good job at making a name for themselves out in Glamis. We got Glamis Bums here. We got Chris and Carlos, 2 of 5, correct?
That's right.
They got 5 members in their group. Where are they at today?
Well, my brother John, he's the one you see with the long beard. If you ever see our Instagram posts or videos, he's in Hawaii right now. He's in Hawaii with his fiance. It's their first trip together, so he was pretty excited about that, and he was also bummed he couldn't be here.
Probably a much-needed break from desert season. Go hang out at the beach.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's work, there's a business, they do a lot. Him and my sister-in-law, they handle all of our shipping, all of our online orders, and
slash warehouse.
So they inventory.
You guys have a warehouse?
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you consider a 2-car garage a warehouse, yeah.
And a storage.
I mean, nobody says what a warehouse size should be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a storage facility where we keep a lot of our props, like for big shows, and extra inventory. But pretty much they've sacrificed their 2-car garage to store all of our merch, and we just keep growing, and they're just busting at the seams. So like initially we had like one wall with the storage rack, and we had some containers on it, and then we had 2 racks, and then 3 racks, and like now you go over there and it's like there's boxes everywhere, and it's a good thing and also a problem.
It's a good problem though, right? Growth is good.
Yeah. I kind of always think back when I seen like a post that was like Apple started in a garage.
Yeah.
Like certain big companies started. I mean,
dude,
who knows
here
where
at
this is going to
LSK,
go?
they started in the garage.
Yeah, Lombard Street Customs.
Lamer Street
Customs.
So LSK, Lamer Street Creations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about being profitable and saving money wherever you can, and we're gonna stay there as long as we're able to fit our merch in there.
Yeah.
It works for us now logistically, because my sister-in-law, she works there 100% of the time, and that's from her house. So there's a little bit of comfort there, convenience as well. But I mean, we hope to continue to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, we do want a warehouse. We want to play warehouse, right? So we want to be able to store our toys there. We want to be able to have our meetings there. So we have big plans. It's just they'll come when they come.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do more than we should or more than we can, and we try to not bite off more than we can chew.
You guys need like a Rob Dyrdek fantasy factory.
Yes.
That'd be the dream.
It was like the ultimate factory as a kid, like watching that,
Oh, dude.
It was.
And that's like kind of like big picture. Like I would love that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
with all the other guys, we all feed off each other, and it's like, what is the ultimate goal? And we have those meetings, bi-weekly, and we sit down, and it's like, but
You guys legit meet every other week?
every other week
cool.
we try to, and it's one of those like, you want something to grow, you got to put in the effort, and we have. And going back to your question, like the other guys, they're just patiently waiting for us to finish the podcast and be like, how'd it go? Because they wanted to be here as well. And I mean, we're all professionals, so we all have a full-time job, and some could make it, some couldn't. So
Well, maybe next season we can get some couches in here and do a bigger set. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
So backing up, Glamis Bums. Like, what makes Glamis Bums? What is it?
For me,
Tough
it's a clothing brand, obviously, from our Instagram page, but it's kind of like a lifestyle. This whole brand started with Carlos and his brother. Just one day we were unloading the dirt bikes in Glamis, and then he's like, damn, we looked around. We're in Wash 6. Looked around, it's like, man, I wish I could be in that toy hauler over there. That looks cool over there, that rig. And then we looked at our rig, and it was a truck, a trailer, and 3 dirt bikes. We're bums. Glamis Bums, and that's where
But
it
you
came
made
back.
it work.
It made it work.
Yeah.
We were there just like everybody else. We just didn't have the nice toy hauler. And then that's kind of like our lifestyle. Cup of noodles, cases of beer, water, and dirt bikes.
I think we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we joke about that a lot. Like people always ask us, like, how'd you guys start? Like, that's how it was, you know. Like, we always tell the story of like, for some reason, I feel like Glamis was colder back then, right? Like, I don't know if it's because now there's more people.
How many years ago?
We started in 03.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 years ago was when we first started going.
When we used to actually get rain. And we had a good season this year, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was less people. I don't know. I can't say there was less people. I don't know. But the weather's changed a little bit. I feel like it was colder at certain times of the year. And so we used to just start a campfire, and literally me, Chris, and my brother would lay around the campfire at night and take turns, like take shifts. Like, all right, you're next to throwing that log. We throw a log in, we sleep next to the fire, get cold. All right, wake up the next guy, your turn. And so that's how we kept warm at night. And we were just a bunch of young kids, 18, 19 years old. We didn't even have no pots, no pans. We used to literally use the can for the beans to warm up our water, to warm up our cup of noodles. Like, that's how much we bummed it. And so that's kind of why we kept that name. Like, we're just bumming it. And it was kind of a joke, but in reality is that's all we could afford at the time.
It was our lifestyle. It was our
you know, it's
lifestyle.
crazy though. Like for me, looking back, is I think we've all been at that stage of the desert. It's so simplistic and so easy, and then you start getting RVs, motorhomes, whatever. And it's work now, you know, to get out there.
It is a week to 2 weeks, so it doesn't pile up. You're like, all right, got to get the toy hauler ready, clean the car, oil changes, make sure everything's right for the wife, for the kids, and that's great. I mean, it's the sacrifice you have for the luxuries, and that's all good. But there's times when we're like, we should just come out here and tent it to bring us back to like what our roots were, which was we were just there in a tent.
Yeah.
That's where the campfire stories always started, and people would pass out right there by the campfire, and it was like, all right, we're still out here till the sun comes up. There'd be days, you know, we see the sunrise, and we're like, all right, power napping, and let's go on a ride in the morning. So, yeah, there's some good memory. He was just talking about it, and I started smiling. I was like, yeah, I remember those times, those cold mornings.
Well, one of the best trips I've ever had, and I'll always remember this. It was just me, Chris, John, and another buddy of ours that he's not part of the Glamis Bums, but you know, I believe he passed away recently. Gerald.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rumor. I haven't talked to the guy in a long time, but I heard he passed away. So, you know, that's super unfortunate. But it was us four. It was just all dirt bikes. I think we all slept in one tent. Like he said, trailer, dirt bikes, very minimal. But we rode like never. Like I've never ridden that much in one weekend. Like we were never at camp. The break of dawn, sun came up. We popped up, went for a ride. We would come back to fuel up, grab some food, some beer, and we're off.
Filling up the camel packs.
And it was just
roll.
Best time ever. Like that's the best time I've ever. I mean, I've had some great trips to Glamis with different groups and different people, with our family, friends. But something about that trip was pretty special, and the fact that it was like there was nothing holding us back.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have nobody waiting for us at camp. We didn't have our significant other there or our kids back at camp. It was just us, some dirt bikes, and endless amount of sand dunes, and it was just so much fun, dude.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
I've never ridden Glamis.
We got to
I think
get you
we've been
out
there 2 times now, just for filming, and then that was it.
When you guys go to film, do you guys ever go on rides though?
To get out to film spots, that's it.
Like how far have you guys gone in?
I don't know. What last time we went out, we went.
The main road.
You know, SoCal Suspension, SoCal Air.
Yeah.
Went out with him, and
Oh, the sand drags.
he was camped by the drags right there, and then we went out probably a couple miles into the dunes, filmed, and then his truck was having some issues, so we went back. It was at Halloween, on Halloween, and
Chaos.
dude,
Chaos.
I've never seen so many desert people in one
Chaos.
spot. Yeah.
Chaos. That is. If you are new to Glamis and you're like on the brink of like, I don't want to go, there's too many people.
That's not the time to go.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to think about it. And we talk to people all the time that talk to us at shows like, I've never been, but I love your brand. Like, I love the designs. That's great. You need to go to Glamis. When should I go? Okay. Well, Glamis can be a little dangerous on Halloween. There's a lot of people. But if you just want to experience what the actual vibe is, the parties, the music, everything, go Halloween weekend. And it helps that Polaris kind of sets it up for like people to go with kids. That this past year they had the Ferris wheel, they have the whole, entertainment. They had the concert.
Dude,
Pennywise was there.
It's crazy what happens in Glamis.
Yeah.
Like we're Ocotillo people, grew up in Ocotillo. Night and day difference.
Yeah.
Of the activities that happen out there. Like it's just people camping,
Yeah. Yeah, wait till you go to Wash 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like
the thing is like, and that's the other thing that people don't realize about us is that, yeah, we love Glamis and we are Glamis brand, but we ride everywhere. So we've done Ocotillo, we've done Starter Wells, we go to Baja every year for the Baja 500. It's like an annual trip that we do.
You guys all go down there?
Well, 3 of us. The other 2 guys, I'm gonna throw Izzy under the bus here. He's the only Mexican I know who's never been to Mexico.
No way.
And every time we're like, hey guys, we're going to Baja this because we're going in May 31st for the race. And every time we throw it on the text, he sends us text backs like, hey, look what's happening in Mexico. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
that can happen in anywhere else around here. Like, let's just go have some fun, go to Papa's, do some pre-running. We take the cars out there and just enjoy Baja for what it is. But we are diverse when it comes to riding. Anything with the motor, gas, camping, family, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, we try to be diverse and all that, but yeah, I mean, Glamis can be dangerous. For me personally, I think, and as a group, I think we kind of, in a way, we kind of love that chaos. Like, it is dangerous, it is crazy, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's something about being in a, like you guys said, I think Chris said, it's chaos, but we always say it's organized chaos, right? And we don't know how it happens, but it happens. Like, for some reason, people, and I mean, I can't speak for all of Glamis because accidents do happen, but for the most part, like, for as many people as are out there every weekend on those big weekends, for the amount of accidents that happen, it's actually relatively pretty low. I believe. I mean, and I could be wrong. I know there's people out there that will question that.
I mean, probably ratio of people to accidents, I'm sure.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, there should be a lot more is what I'm saying. But it doesn't. Why? I think intuition kicks in, common sense.
Do you feel like side-by-sides have created more chaos and accidents out there?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I believe that because the average person. So I've had this conversation with a lot of people. We grew up, before side by sides. It was like, how can I put it? It was a progression, and you kind of like graduated to the next step, right? So you would start whatever an 8, whatever you could ride, right? A 125, and then you get a 250, a 450. Then you ride a quad, and or you would ride in a sand rail, and so like you couldn't go out dune riding unless you knew how to ride. You were gonna stay around camp.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could only ride up to your limits. You would get stuck, you'd fall, whatever. But now in a side-by-side, like, the newest person can go out to any of these spots and without really knowing the rules, like the do's and don'ts. And so to me, that's a little bit scary. But at the same time, I understand it. Like, we all have to go through that growing pain.
There's only one way to learn.
There's only one way to learn.
Yeah.
I think for us, like, I know we've made like a conscious like effort to educate people that ride with us within our group. Like, if you're new to our group, like, there's a few things that we'll tell you before we go on the ride, right? Like, we have to let you know, like, this is how it's going to go down, and if you're going to ride with us, this is the way it's going to go. And we're going to try to use our platform to also educate people that are new to the industry and lead by example, right? So whether that's picking up your trash or just kind of using your hand signals or just being like a good off-roader.
A steward of the land, a steward, like, respecting the environment. Organizations are always the government's always trying to take away that because of the danger, because of the trash. Use our platform for the better good.
Speaking of trash, Dirt Life Media.
Yes.
Guy's kicking butt out there.
Dylan, yeah, that's
he came on this podcast. We haven't uploaded it yet, but
He's a good man. He's a good man, and he's put in a lot of effort, time. We've talked to him. We talk to him all the time. We go to Glamis, and he's just his positivity. He just bleeds like I care about this, the environment, and he's putting in the work.
still,
You know, it's a lot of work. Probably a lot of lonely nights. Just all right. What am I doing tomorrow? Picking up trash. Picking up nails.
does he have a dog? I never asked him. Does he have a dog or anything out there?
I've never seen him with a dog.
No.
I think he tries to keep his responsibilities to a minimum.
Just Lone Ranger out there.
Yeah, he likes to do what he wants to do when he wants to do them, and he wants full space to do that.
With his Uggs and his Uncrustables. He's a happy man.
That's
He's trying to get sponsored by Uncrustables.
He's been for a while.
He's
been for a while.
He's persistent.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story about it with Uncrustables where they sent him like a 50-cent check or something like that to his mom?
Serious?
Yeah, he didn't tell you guys about that. He said it on this.
No.
This I forgot where he mentioned it, but he was like, yeah, I kept talking to them and they sent him like some check, and he was like, oh, Uncrustables, come on.
No, I think it's cool what he's doing. There's a lot of desert cleanups. We're doing one for Fast Lab UTV up in Dove Springs.
I
did see that. I did see that.
No, it's cool seeing people get together and help clean up our deserts, because I think that's, well, like you were saying, one of the issues, like people want to shut it down because of the mess or whatever, but you can't control hundreds of thousands of people with what they're going to do. They're drinking, doing their thing. And
And then we actually have, like, I'm not going to blurt it out or anything, but there's something in the works where we kind of want to organize something with some people and some companies where we want to do like something in Glamis as well, to do our part, because Dylan's putting in that work and there's other organizations, but I think
there's not a lot for Glamis, huh?
There's not. It's a really big riding area, and there's so many people, like you mentioned, on like Halloween weekend. It's trashed, and so we need to do our part, keep it open and keep it clean for future generations. So
I think it comes down to just awareness, and if everybody continues to talk about it, for the longest time, like nobody ever talked about it. Like it was just like, oh man, like look at this trash, I remember one time we showed up to, it was a big weekend, and we couldn't find a camp, and we found this spot, right, like in between this big camp and this big camp, and it was kind of prime real estate, so we were like, oh, what the hell, like, why is nobody camping here? So we rolled up, it's late at night, like probably 11 to 12, pretty late relatively, and then when we rolled up to it, we realized why nobody was camping there. Toilet paper, wipies. The biggest thing that was disgusting is like there was a big bag of dog food that had been left over, and I was just like, who leaves dog food? Like, yeah, if you spill it, like pick it up. Like, but it was as if like they literally partied, got in their truck and took off. And so we spent about an hour. We're like, fuck it, we're gonna clean this up. So we spent about an hour cleaning up our entire camp area, and we probably picked up 4 or 5 bags of trash. But we were also surprised at like how fast and what a big difference it made just to put the effort in. Like from the moment we got there till like after we were done cleaning, we looked around, it was like a different place. Yeah. And it's like it's that easy. Like it's not that hard. It's just awareness, right? So I think the whole thing that we got going on that'll be coming out soon. We don't want to spoil it or anything like that, but we got some big players that are jumping on board, and more people are jumping on board. Dylan is one of them that's going to be a part of it, because we feel like he's a guy that's genuine, and we want to support that. And I think it'll be good for the industry, and it'll be a chance for us to bring that awareness that we're talking about. And if it reaches this many people, then that's more than it was before. Yeah. And if there's a lot of people, and I do want to bring that up because there were some comments on Instagram about like the multiple people are saying, well, we do that too, and we know that, like, we got to continue to do that. Like, we support them, and we hope that they support us. And there is a lot of people that have been trying to clean up the dunes for a long time, but it continues to be an issue. So let's just continue to bring that awareness, and for us, like, control what we can control, right?
Yeah, there's more people that don't care about the dunes than there is. Like, they're just there for the weekend. Their homies hit them up. Hey, let's go to Glamis. Let's go. But they don't understand the etiquette that comes with keeping the place that we go every other holiday or every holiday. It's kind of like near and dear to our hearts, and then it's kind of like you're trashing our area.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I mean?
big one is the burning of the pallets.
Oh,
Like, I mean, I think we've all burned pallets, right? But
back in the day, it was kind of like, oh, bring pellets, and
You
then you
really
kind of
think about
learned,
it.
and then you're like, oh man, yeah. So
like seeing the amount of nails that he's picking up makes you kind of think twice about.
correct. Well, I mean, we don't just think about it. Our pockets pay for it because we pop the tires, messes things up. People are walking around, they get nails in there, and it's kind of like, okay, there's a reason for it as well. It damages the tires, pops tires, and so
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, half of those nails probably nobody would even know they're there.
Yeah.
And like that's the whole thing. It's like he's pretty creative in what he does, and just creating that whole magnet trap thing, and just kind of like it's cool, and it's like actually showing people like this is what we're riding on. Open your eyes, dude. Like let's make a change, and I hope that the tide will kind of start to turn.
Yeah.
And I will say, this season, as bad as it is, was better than last season, from my perspective. And I can only speak for Wash 6. So it's good to see that there's some change going on. Mm-hmm. Maybe all the awareness that people have been bringing, all the attention that's been getting. There's some other groups out there that are, they constantly are bringing awareness to it as well. So, we just want to continue to push that, man, because I feel it's so important. People don't realize how lucky we are to have these spaces where we can go and ride, and it can close them at any time. And
Which
then
is talked about all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it does, guess what? It's going to be so much harder to get it back than it is for us to just put the work in now to make sure it never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then things have kind of changed because now we have kids. So
Yeah.
when we were young, obviously we were just there to party and this and that, and
You're not really thinking about it as
you're
much.
not really thinking about it. You're young and dumb, and you're on your dirt bike, and you just want to ride and party. That's great because Glamis was a rager back in the day in comparison now. But now that we have kids, it's kind of like this is the next generation. Those kids are very fortunate. We didn't get our first dirt bike till we were 18.
Yeah.
Our parents didn't take us out to Glamis. You talk to these not old timers because they're about the same age as us, but like, oh yeah, I came when I was 2 years old in diapers. I was like, man, that's cool, man. Like
Yeah.
you can't hate on it. That's just what they grew up in. We didn't start going till we were 18, and older guys introduced us to it, and we were like, this is Glamis. I went to the dealership. I went to Bert's Mega Mall, signed the dotted line, gave me my dirt bike. Got on the dirt bike, and that's where the education started from them. This is what you got to do. This is how you keep Glamis open. And now we have our kids. It's like, all right, everybody grab a bag. Let's start picking up our
You can
camp.
teach that etiquette at a young age.
Teaching that etiquette.
Yeah.
So now it's just like second nature. All the kids, all right, we have a little competition. All right, everybody pick up trash, and who has the most trash. And it's a game.
Yeah.
But it's teaching them what they need to do to keep these dunes open. So,
Yeah. Speaking of Glamis in the past, man, it was wild, dude. It's changed so much.
More wild than now?
Oh, dude.
Well, what's changed?
I think it's more family oriented now than it was back then. I think
Yeah.
back then it was like a lot more. I don't know. People went out there to party.
like Havasu without the water. If you're like at the sandbar,
I just told someone the other day.
It's like
I feel like
house.
Glamis, maybe because I've never experienced it in the past, but to me, when I see Glamis like at Halloween, that reminds me of Havasu.
it's like that's what I always kind of compare it to. I was like, if you do the transition from like winter to summer, and you go to Havasu, and the boats link up together and all that, and you guys are just kicking it, and I'll go on your boat, you come on mine, and that's exactly what it used to be. Just no high horsepower razors. It was all dirt bikes, golf carts, rhinos if you were like balling, and in a sand reel if you were like, man, that's badass,
Yeah.
But it was literally just dirt bikes, quads, trikes, and golf carts. That was the thing. Remember the golf carts?
Yeah.
Ooh, the lifted golf
long
carts.
travel.
Long travel.
Yeah.
Oh man.
People were putting $15,000 into like a golf cart or a rhino. And it's like
It was the closest thing to a razor at the time, right?
That
Oh,
was.
yeah. It was funny because I remember when the first Razor came out. A lot of people don't know, but it was. I could be wrong. I need to fact check myself because I want to say that I remember it was a RZR 700, and it came out because back then everybody was putting a 4-seater on a Rhino, so they were like get a 2-seat Rhino with the thumb cage, and then they would build a roll cage and put a bench seat in the back, right?
It was
and that
horrible.
was your 4-seater.
Hideous.
Yeah, it was your 4-seater. And they used to long travel that, and I remember the
With no power.
A 660 motor.
I mean, if you're
Raptor
pushing that thing in the sand, it's probably not.
I think it probably like the fastest one probably did like 20 miles, 15 to 20 miles.
It's like a
an
ranch
hour
vehicle.
going up the hill.
Right?
And
Hey, but if you had that, you were, man, look at that Rhino.
I remember like people used to brag about like my Rhino makes it up old.
Yeah.
Like that was the big brag.
Just putting.
Yeah, oh, dude,
It
it,
was just-
didn't matter how fast you went. It made it, right? So it's like you ever took in a truck? Like there's people like, we've experienced it, taking our trucks trying to make it to the top of olds. Now I got a Ford Raptor, so like that's a
butter. Non-issue. That's a
butter,
non-issue, yeah.
But we were trying to take. I remember the first truck I tried taking up. It was a F250 04 F250 Power Stroke, and that thing is super heavy.
Just rolling coal up it.
Oh, dude, that thing was just bouncing
Yeah.
up all the way up, and I was trying to get up, I couldn't. But then so the way people kind of brag about getting their trucks to the top of olds, that's how it was with Rhinos. Like, oh, I have a Rhino that makes it up olds, and they might have been doing 15 miles an hour at the top. And so then the Razor came out, and I remember everybody was like talking about how this thing was doing 25 miles an hour. Now you compare something going 15 and something going 25. Like it moves past it like it's standing still.
Watching it looked like
Yeah.
it was.
Up
It
Olds.
was so cool.
That's steep.
Because I heard about it, and we're at the bottom at Olds, and I seen this red little car coming through. It was all red, and kind of sings by us, and then goes through the whoops, and then just freaking back then it was flying up. It was 25 miles an hour, and it just jams up this hill, and we were all looking at each other like, holy shit! Like that's the future right there.
Dude, reminiscing on progression in desert. You imagine the first guy who had that Razor,
Mm-hmm.
first guy to go up in that thing.
Well, he was one of the first in Glamis to have a 900.
Well, I
one of
wouldn't
the-
say I was like one of the first wave of people. So I bought my first Razor in 2011. It was XP900. This is when the XP900 came out. That's when the performance side by side really came into
Yeah.
play. Like that was the first one that they said, you know what, we're gonna build I know the Razor 800 was like pretty badass. But then they said, you know what, we're going to redesign the motor. We're going to basically put a street bike motor in it. And we're going to put trailing arms like a trophy truck. And we're going to put some real shocks on it. And we're going to freaking
What was the rear end on the 800?
A-arm.
A-arm.
Yeah. Little coil springs in the back, A-arm. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did well. I mean, one of our buddies had his, Gomez had his up until 3 years ago.
3 years ago, he sold it, got some decent money, and moved up to a turbo. And he's like, night and day difference. But he just,
Yeah.
it's one of those he was happy, content with it. But it's just, these high horsepower cars now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like everybody's so spoiled now with these Can-Ams and turbos, and now the Pro R, and the people don't realize that you don't need all that power to have fun in Glamis. It's like I've had just as much fun on my Turbo R, and I used to have a Samro for a year with the J35 motor in it, and I wanted to turbo that thing, but I never got that far. But I've had just as much fun on my XP900, if not more, than any other car, because it's a challenge. And the thing about it is Glamis is really all about momentum. So yeah, the power's nice, and the power will get you there quicker, but it will also leave you stranded a little bit quicker as well. The 900, I don't think I ever broke down, maybe once. I think I had it for 10 years, and I think at the end I broke one of my A-arm bolts. And it was probably my fault, 'cause that season I got lazy and I didn't really kind of go through the car and really prep it, because I wasn't really riding at the time. But it broke a bolt, and we were able to strap ratchet strap on the A-arm and get back to camp. And and they were like, "Oh, let's take the main road." I'm like, "Nah, we're taking the dunes."
Yeah.
Hey, but let's talk to them how it was prior to that, when it was dirt bikes, and how the feeling of Glamis. I mean, you're a dirt bike rider. You have a 450. Once you get out there and you ride the dunes on a dirt bike, it's like no other feeling.
You go into certain sand washes that kind of have some
Little
back and
little
forth,
berms.
like in Nocatio.
Yeah.
I don't know. After smashing around on hard pack all day long, getting into that sand, it's like butter.
You got a paddle.
So
you got a
I can
450.
imagine I've never ridden with a paddle.
Oh man.
Yeah, I rode my dirt bike without a pedal for years, and I swore
Out in
by
Glamis?
it. Yeah, and I swore by it because so the reason why I went to I rode a pedal once, and I ended up eating it and tearing my ligament, and I thought at the time it really was my fault, but I thought at the time it was because of that paddle, right? Like, so. I don't. I was leading, and then I really lost track of where I was at, and I think I was looking back or looking forward, and a witch eye came up, and I hit the witch eye or whatever. So then after I tore my ligament, came back, and then I think one time I didn't have time to put up my paddle on, so I'm like, screw it, I'm going Glamis. I'm like, I don't have time to put the paddle on, so I'm gonna take my knobby. So I left my knobby on there, and I just felt like I had way more control. Like, I like the feeling of like turning and like the bike not wanting to push me. Like, I can turn it and just kind of slide into it, really dig in, almost like a berm, and then just throttle through it. And so I feel like I had so much more control with just a knobby. So I was telling everybody, yeah, knobby's the way to go.
I was a complete opposite, bro. I was like, dude, get a
He's like,
paddle.
get a freaking
Guy's trying to
paddle.
start
Well,
a
but they
movement.
also had a 450, and it's like instant throttle. Like, he's going up olds, and I'm just like, popping a wheelie, just because
Were you on a
yeah.
250?
On 250,
Yeah.
But you know what it would end up being is, to be honest, and maybe this will help somebody else out there, it was all about paddle choice. So the paddle I was running really wasn't the best paddle. Chris had an extra paddle that I think was made by Scat Track,
Scat Track, yep.
and had just the right amount of paddles, and then that little grip in the middle.
The
I feel
buff, how they buff it.
yeah, that helps so much. And so after I put that pedal, and it was so much lighter. So after I put that pedal on it, like, it changed my mind. I'm like, dude, I'm stupid. Like, you need a paddle out here. You're an idiot, dude.
And on
Like,
a 250. I
I was like, man, I've been stressing my motor out for all these years for no damn reason.
trying to re-gear
He's probably
it.
screaming, huh?
Oh, dude. Especially when you get into that. So the backside of Glamis, like China Wall and all those areas back there, it gets really soft. Nobody really rides back there as much. So trying to take a 250 with no paddle in the really, really soft stuff was just like, it was pointless. It was like quicksand, dude. Like, I'm on the throttle and that thing's just digging in.
Drenched when we got back to camp.
Oh, yeah.
Drenched in
Super
sweat,
exhausted.
exhausted.
Like, it wasn't fun, right? So I'm like, get back. So anyway, so now we run our paddles, and I actually sold that dirt bike to my nephew, and he's one of the lucky ones. He's kind of like graduated as we progressed. You know, brought him in on the PW50. Then I got him XR80, and then I jumped him up to a RM80, and then we got him a 125. But he had that for like a month, because then by that time he was already riding my 250.
Yeah.
And so he rides that bike now, and that's an '08 RMZ 250. And that bike, original top end, never had any motor work, never even had my fork seals replaced on it. They don't leak. All I've ever
Well, you're
done
not
is,
a heavy guy.
Well-
guys like us, we go through seals.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the advantage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, the pros and cons. But
So there you have it. Lose some weight, and your bike maintenance is.
you know, what it is just maintenance is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maintenance and really
It helps that he's a mechanic too.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's like preventative maintenance. We're all about that too. Preventative maintenance, so we're not stranded out there. Because
Mechanic and doing stuff with your hands.
yeah,
While that's brought up, let's talk about your trailer outside.
Oh shit. Here we go.
This guy pulls up in a trailer. I'm like, hey, you should get an LSK tube chassis trailer. Chris over here is like, nope, not happening.
I gave him the quick little run. That I was like, you could try, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's sentimental value. He built it with his brother. It's a burnt down toy hauler frame. He's like, what? Yeah. And then sure enough, he's like, talked to Carlos, and he's like, yep, I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah, I just don't see the need to ever get rid of that trailer. I mean, eventually we will, but again, like I was telling you, I saw the trailer. It was a coworker of ours, and he had the trailer in front of his yard. We went to his house for something, and I seen it, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with that trailer? And it was just chassis, and then some burnt down tires. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fix it up, and he never did. And then one day he calls my brother, and he's like, hey, you guys still want that trailer? He tells me, he's like, you want that trailer? I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, you have to go get it right now. He fucking wants it out of his yard. Somebody started tagging on it, and it was pissing him off. So I went and grabbed it, and then, wow, me and my brother John, we fabbed up the side rails. We put decking on it. Did all the lights. We even built a tailgate on it. And long story short, we ended up building the trailer for $500, and it has dual axle electric brakes. Just a little bit of elbow grease, and
Has everything you need.
It has everything I need. And I kind of outgrown it in a way, because when we designed it, this is back when I had XP 900, so I only needed 5.5 feet.
So it fit in between.
It fit in
Okay.
between.
Two cars.
That's
Two
why you
cars,
saw me
too.
rolling over the wheel wells.
Yeah, the drive over setup's a little sketch.
Yeah, it's a little sketch. So I got to build some rounds. I'm gonna modify it a little bit.
Or you get a new LSK trailer and
Yeah,
they
there you
built
go.
it around your
There you
thing.
go. The new one's a drive over.
Look, you can see he's not even giving you eye
100
contact.
inches wide, and you can powder coat that thing the same color scheme as the car.
Okay, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I don't know. I still like that trailer though.
Yeah.
By the way, the car looks beautiful.
Thank you.
You guys did a really good job in gator wraps, right?
Gator Wraps did it, yeah. Yeah, they've done all of our cars. There's a lot of good wrap companies out there that we've seen. It's just loyalty. I've known Rod from Gator Wraps for a while. So one of the first things that I did a while ago, I don't do that anymore, but I had a mobile diesel repair business. So I had a mobile diesel truck, and Rod actually designed my business cards. And he's actually the one that gave me my first shot. So he actually called me. He's like, "Hey, we're doing your business cards." He goes, "But I see that you do this, and that." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I have a big rig and a double stacker hydraulic enclosed trailer that needs some work." And he goes, "Are you up for it?" I'm like, "Yeah." So, I appreciated that because I was just getting started, and he gave me the opportunity. So because of that, he could have went to anybody. Like they're in Ontario. This is like truck country, right? There's like so many mobile services out here. But I think he did it because he's like, well, this guy's giving me business. I'm gonna give him business. And so that kind of meant something to me. So I was like, all right. So I did work for him. And so now when the brand started up and we had a choice of picking a wrap company, we were like, well, I know Rod. Let me hit him up. And he gave us a pretty good little discount, and we just always gone back to him.
Yeah, I honestly appreciate that about you guys. I reached out to you guys for working with you on trying to get a set of doors on your car. And I think it was, like a week? Yeah, I talked to you, and then it was like a week before you got back to me because you wanted to discuss with the guys. And
Yeah.
Like, I appreciated that in the loyalty stance of you guys,
Yeah, so I'll be straight up. So DRT is working on some doors, and we have a really great relationship with them. They build some good products, and so we were kind of hoping to run their doors. But then we, at the same time, like we've actually were trying to work with you guys for a while. Like Chris had reached out to you guys
because I've been waiting. Like I was explaining to you, I was like, I've been following LSK since you guys were back in South Amani, but when we were into trucks. So we were building our trucks, and we were talking about the T100 that Carlos and I built, long travel T100, and the whole scheme before the side-by-side thing. We were into trucks, and I want LSK because it was quality. It was quality, and it was something different. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I got my car wrapped. I built my car for Sandsport last year, but now it's his turn for this upcoming year for the Sandsport show. It's basically going to be the booth car where we're going to showcase, the people that support us, and with the doors, it just made the car look a lot better. And with Gator Wraps, everything looks legit, which we can't wait to showcase that car.
No, I'm super glad that we actually went with you guys. Like I said, just to kind of finish off that, like I actually talked to the team, and I actually talked to Landon at DRT, and I was like, hey, look, there's this opportunity that came up. Like I just want to be straight up. Like loyalty is important to us, and his doors are not out yet, right? So he told me, he says, well, you know what, you should do whatever's best for your brand, and I really thought about it, and I was like,
that's kind of a tough spot to put you in, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's ultimately on you guys, but
but
there's other cars in our group that still need building.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. He really liked the doors, and he's like, hey guys, I really like the quality of the build, and that's the direction he wanted to go, and we have to support that too.
I went with my gut, and I'm happy I did, because I think like just kind of getting to know you guys and seeing what you guys are doing in the industry. Like I feel like you guys are just moving in the right direction.
Well, I think we're kind of in a rebrand in a way too. You know, they've been a company for so long, and then jumping into the UTV world, it's obviously completely different than the truck side.
Yeah.
And they had, I don't know, 70,000 followers of truck followers, and then bringing in all this UTV stuff. It's been a journey trying to move over into the UTV side, but still keep the truck guys. And it's difficult. Social media wise, it's difficult to get interactive with the UTV crowd. You know.
Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
since you guys are first, you guys were truck builders, right? Truck parts, and then now moving into the side by side. What is your preference as far as like truck or UTV? Because there's not beef between the two, but it's always like the trucks are like, oh,
No,
those,
but you're
those
bringing-
glorified golf
you're bringing
carts.
golf carts into
You're
trucks,
bringing golf,
yeah.
and it's funny because we had trucks, but it just the convenience went to side by side, and you get to like if you bash it, throw it on the trailer, you still have a usable
I think
truck.
company wise, obviously like a long travel race kit, you're looking $6,000-$7,000 for the front end, and then another $6,000-$7,000 for the rear minimum. You know, so you're not selling units aren't just flying out the door every day.
Yeah.
So getting into the UTV side, it's more accessory based, and you're reaching a bigger, more frequent crowd. You know,
Correct. More willing to build these cars, if anything, because a truck, when you look at a regular truck, it's just like, oh, there's so much you need to do once you dive in. These cars are pretty capable, but it's one of those like we just want to style it and make it
Yeah,
different.
I think Truck 2 is not a family event. I mean, it can be, but it's not necessarily geared towards like, hey, let's take the kids out in the Razor and go out for the weekend. But it's been we get comments once in a while, like I'll post like a week's worth of UTV stuff, and I'll do like one truck post. And somebody will comment in there and be like, man, finally you guys are posting truck stuff again, you know, but it is what it is. People are going to say stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, like, because we've had all that, like, we started late, like we talked about, 18 years old when we started, like, our off-road, you know, endeavor.
Our journey.
But
You guys started in the MySpace days.
I was a little past that.
Was it?
For some reason,
I don't even think I was on MySpace. I was too busy with college
I
and
think
school.
That was like my brother John. Like
MySpace was more geared towards like musicians and like.
But we were there. Like we've seen it. I just didn't dabble in it too much.
I didn't bedazzle your page.
I don't think at the time too, for like an off-road group, that wasn't your first thought to like post stuff on social media.
No.
Yeah.
Now it
was probably looked down upon, right? In a way.
I don't know. I never, like I said, I never really got into the MySpace thing. Is that the one where the guy would come on and he'd be like, "I'm your friend." Like he was everybody's
Tom.
He was everybody's friend, right? Like your first friend was the guy, the owner.
Tom.
Right? Yeah, I remember that.
You could put like a song on your page. You could like customize your page up a little bit and like have your top 5 friends. You know,
and he was always there.
Piss off your other friends. You know.
Yeah.
Tom was everywhere.
Yeah. I remember that guy. So
your top friend.
Yeah, he was the guy I never wanted to be friends with. But I mean,
you weren't. I mean, I guess at the time you're not promoting your off-road brand, or you guys were just growing as a group of friends.
Back then, dude, we were just like everyday, you know, riders, like weekend warriors, you know, and we still are. But going back to that, like we started like with trucks. So I think the first thing I got into was. I bought a Banshee, and then I think we got a Toyota pickup, so we would go off-roading. Chris had a T100, which we actually built in my garage. I think he was one of the few people that had a long travel T100 kit. So there was no like bolt-on kit. Everything kind of had to be kind of fabricated. So we did that, and that was a lot of fun. And then we just kind of progressed into like dirt bikes, quads, and then we kind of really got into Glamis. And
race Banshees.
Race Banshee. He had a Banshee.
Those Banshees were bad.
He would be like because he was like a guru with the carburetors, and it was and with Banshees it's all about, and two-strokes in general, it's all about that brand, that power band, and that crisp throttle response. And he was always like, I'd be hitting the hill, it's not running right. He'd be like, let me check your carbs, tune them. All right, hit it. So that he was like kind of like my mechanic pit crew kind of deal.
I was never into quads, but like the sound of a Banshee ripping through the desert, couldn't beat it.
He had Toomey pipes.
No, I actually had.
Did you have FMS?
I had FMF Fat Boys.
And gold.
I chose them because if you look into the Toomeys, everybody wants the Toomeys, right? Because that's like your drag pipe. It's all top end. But again, we've always kind of been like we don't really care to go drag. We want to go ride. So the Toomey Fat Boys had a better torque.
Like an all-around pipe.
Yeah, an all.
A
So I
good
was like,
dooner
well,
pipe.
I still want to go fast, but I also want to be able to have the power when I'm duning. So I went with that pipe and
Yeah, I had the Gold Series.
the Gold Series.
Gold
Yeah.
Series.
So that was like their
FMX.
race series pipe.
I mean, the drag guys are stretching their Banshees,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if you ever did.
We didn't stretch them. We did a lot of like port jobs. We did the cool heads, changed the domes. At one point I was running like half race gas, half 91. Like that's when it got kind of like into it. And then after I blew that motor, I was like, I'm done with this, dude.
That's
like,
when
it's just-
that's when all the problems started. For him.
yeah.
That's when his bike became unreliable.
But that thing was for being stock. Hey, what color was it? Let's see if you remember.
It was yellow and purple.
Yellow and purple, baby.
With the big old hella.
I had hella headlights
like
on it.
5-inch hella
Old
headlights.
desert style.
Oh,
Big
dude.
old on my Banshee, and it just looked funny. But
It looked hilarious.
when
We
I
used
would
to-
spank dudes up
We
the
used to
hills,
cap on him all the time. Like, dude, get rid of those headlights. He's like,
Hey.
nah, they're cool. I'm like, no, they're not.
Hey,
dude.
but- hey.
Nowadays, though, those lights would be sick.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
OG, there were Dick CPEC lights. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
that, but the brand
Yeah,
Dick
yeah.
CPEC, it was huge. I had two huge, and every time you give the throttle, it just light up the whole dune.
It was,
It was the
it was killing all
funniest.
your power. That's what it was doing.
But it was funny, dude. It was
That's
cool.
why you kept blowing stators, dude.
Damn, dude.
So do you guys still ride today, or just strictly in the side by sides?
Oh no, we still ride. We will ride anything, but I love riding a dirt bike in Glamis. I think that's my favorite ride. If I had my choice, I'll be on a dirt bike all day long.
Yeah.
There's no better ride in Glamis. I don't care what anybody says. If they say anything different, it's because they don't know how to ride a dirt bike.
Or they haven't been deep into the dunes, like to actually carve those bowls. I mean, I never hucked it on those big dunes. I wasn't about that, but
It's
riding
like-
those dunes.
It's like, okay, it's like people say, oh, you have a 4-seater, but everybody wants a 2-seater. If you're like a real duner, like if you really want to ride hard, you buy a 2-seater. Because once you go into a 4-seater, you can bring more people, but it doesn't, the performance isn't the same, right? Well, imagine that's kind of the same theory, except now instead of 2, now you think about just 1, right? So in a dirt bike, you can do whatever you want
Yeah.
at any time.
with the pedal.
With the, and, I mean, you can do it with the knobby too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But so to me, there's no better riding Glamis than a dirt bike. But with that said, there's just something that comes with being able to take your family and a side by side and having the cooler, with some food, some drinks, having the shade, having the music. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. We have. I mean, that's one of my biggest joys is like. And going back to like why is a side by side industry so big and why is it growing? In my opinion, it's because we are able to do that. Like I remember like with my Banshee and my dirt bike, it's the best riding Glamis, but only I can experience that.
Yeah.
Because if you can't build yourself up to that ability, you're never going to be able to get that killer ride. Where in a side by side, I could do it, and my wife is right next to me, or my kids are behind me.
Yeah.
And we get to experience that whole different side of Glamis. We get to go on these epic rides with other people and group rides and, watch these beautiful sunsets. Instead of my family being at camp, riding around in a circle, now they're experiencing these epic rides that we would always talk about with them.
Yeah.
So I think that's why side-by-sides have just blown up because you're now sharing it with somebody. Now, you could do the coolest thing. Like, in your dirt bike, you could hit the best lip, hit the biggest jump. And if your buddy didn't see it, nobody saw it. Well, now you have somebody next to you that's a witness.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, dude, and you get to live that up with each other. Like, I've been in cars with my buddies, and whether I'm driving or they're driving, and we do something, we look at each other, we're like, that shit was sick.
Fist bump, and then it's
Right?
like, let's keep going.
And so, like, if that other seat wasn't there, like, you wouldn't have experienced that moment with somebody else. And,
Yeah.
and to me, that's what makes them cool.
Last season, though, I would take my dirt bike every Glamis trip. So
Never-
my
never rode
Razor.
it.
No, I would ride it. I mean, I would get maybe one ride. I mean, but I would take it because that whole feeling of that dirt bike's going with me. If I get a chance to skip away in the morning, and there was times when, I'm an early bird, so I would wake up and I'd go on a quick rip down by Wash 6, take that little highway, that Wash Road all the way to the Olds. But I'd be there and it'd be like, last night we were here till like 2 a.m, thousands of people, and then you get there like at 6 a.m, 6:30.
Silent.
I'm the only one there. it's kind of eerie. Like you're just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to the whole trash. You look around and it's like, this is cool. Trash. It's like, all right. But I mean, going back to I would take my dirt bike. I just sold it, but now I'm already scrolling through for the next one. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever stop riding a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You know, we used to ride Milestone a lot. That was a lot of fun. I used to love going to the track. And we still enjoy going out to like Starter Wells and go to Slash X and you know, hit those trails out there. Again, it'll never go away. It's just it's kind of harder now because, you know, with work and family and, you know, with the business, like it's
Adulting,
yeah, it's kind of hard to get those trips in. So I've been wanting to do one, and it's just like making that happen is hard sometimes.
How often do you guys go out every year, roughly?
To Glamis or
yeah.
just to go ride?
Just to go out to Glamis with the family, like what's your guys' normal?
Every major holiday.
We're there every major holiday, and then we're there some off weekends. So I don't know. Every year is growing. So like with the brand, like we used to go at least 3-4 times a year, like when we first started, and then like every year would go a little bit more. And then with the brand, like now we kind of feel like we have to be there. Well, not have to, we want to, but we feel like it's justified.
No, it's almost an obligation to the community, right? Out in Glamis.
And we're very fortunate right now with like the people that follow us, support us. It's kind of like we're able to do our passion of writing, and we got to supplement it with like a little bit of the funds that we get from our T-shirt designs. Right?
Yeah.
We hustle throughout the week. We make sure we get, you know, the content, we get the product out, but it allows us, you know, to go out to Glamis a little more.
Let's talk about your T-shirt design. So it looks like you guys come out with quite a few designs.
Mm-hmm.
What's the inspiration? I mean, you guys have a very specific style of artwork that you do.
Yeah.
Where'd the inspiration come for that?
Honestly, I think that's what we're having 5 people on our team, where it kind of benefits us, because there's challenges when you have that many people that are in charge. Like there's always the differences of opinion or different styles, but at the end of the day, it's also what makes us kind of special. Like you can't really pinpoint like, oh, it's one specific person thinking about everything. Like it's a collaborative effort. And matter of fact, we have a like voting system. So anytime we make any major decision, it's majority vote.
And get this, with 5 dudes, sometimes it's like hearts are broken. But it's like, bro,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, okay, this is what it is. But a lot of that inspiration is when a lot of our best designs that were like hitters is when we were just bullshitting around a campfire, drinking a beer, talking. It's like, I like that idea. Next shirt. All right, give me some more feedback. What are we doing? And it's like, all right, I saw this. All right, start sketching it. We do a little rough draft and we come up with those ideas.
Who does the artwork?
I sketch it out, and then we all they give me feedback. I don't like that. Do this. This is what I envision for this design. All right, next one. Sketch it all out, and then we have our sketchbooks. And then there's a couple other guys that sketch as well. And then I have a little bit better of a hand, so I knock it out, and then we vote on it.
So you guys do your artwork?
Yeah.
Well, no, not the final artwork. So we do like the pre-final mock-up.
And then you send it in to get
so
to a graphic designer.
We have an internal designer, and we have an artist that we also work with. So we do
he
both.
just cleans it up and...
He cleans it up. So we have an internal guy, part of our group, that
Alex.
Alex, yeah. So we got to talk about the other guys, but we'll get to that right now because I feel like we're leaving them out, and they're super important and a big part of how we became Glamis Bums and where we are. But he's really good with graphic design and T-shirt design, and he's that brain, right? Like he's that one that kind of knows what's a hitter, what's not. He's kind of led us in that direction, and then we're like the creative ones. Like we're the ones that have experienced all this in Glamis, and so we bring up these ideas, and then as a group we kind of create these designs and we come up with concepts, and we'll have meetings. Like we'll have meetings where everybody has to bring 5 ideas or 3 ideas, whatever. And then we put them on the board. And then we're like, yeah, that one's cool, that one's not. And then we kind of like, tailor them down. And then we're like, once we find them, and it's like that aha moment, right? Like once we find that one, we're like, yes, like we'll all agree, like we all know, like that's the one. And then we go in hard. into like, all right, well, the intricacies, right? Like, what is going to be the design around that? How do we bring that idea into a T-shirt?
And I think one of the biggest things when it comes to that T-shirt design that you're talking, that aha moment, is like, it's really like, if you look at those designs, it's what you see in Glamis. Just normal things. Like it's nothing special. Like our beer can design, it's someone hitting that double, the swing set double.
That's the air freshener. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very simple design. It's just a car jumping, but when you go to swing set, you're looking forward to that guy hucking it. I won't do it, but I'll watch that other guy and cheer him on.
We seen it in a video, and I think we've talked to the guy. What's his name from Doing Destroy?
Jonathan.
No, not John.
Or John.
John from Doing Destroy. He was telling us that that was him launching off of that. So it might have been.
I think he had mentioned he was the first 4-seat car to jump it.
It might have been because it was. I think
Yeah.
we had like a video of it. And it was like a white car, and I think he had a white car at the time.
Pro
So
experience.
we take inspiration. Like again, they're another Glamis brand, and if he was the one that hit it and inspired us, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like we get inspired by anything. Like we can get inspired by some random guy riding a wheelie and the sunsets behind him, and we're like, fuck, T-shirt. You know, like that's a cool vision. Side by side, and so the inspiration comes from just us being out there, man.
Being out there,
living the real, like really living the Glamis life that so many people enjoy and love, and we get to share that with everybody through our design. Like we get to like create something that reminds them, right? Because like more times than not, if we've experienced it, then most people have.
Yeah,
we just throw it down with nice color, a good design, and.
No, the colors are sick.
Yeah,
All
I think like Carlos's car with your doors on it, that orange, just for some reason it kind of became our color. We always put orange in our designs, and
I'm not gonna lie, when you sent me the picture, that was the first thing I saw. That
orange.
bright orange stripe. It's
my
sick.
car has 2 orange stripes on it. My Pro XP. John's went a different direction, but that was like our brand build, so it was a little different, but. We bounce ideas. It's like, what do we feel when we're out in Glamis, and we try to throw it on a T-shirt. And I think the biggest compliment that we've gotten from like the people that follow the page or the brand is some of them have never even been to Glamis, and they're like, I just love your shirt design.
It's cool.
It's like, you never been to Glamis? Like, let me tell you, let me talk to you about what Glamis is, so you can go out there. And I think last week we had a guy on the Instagram page. He's like, I went to Glamis for the first time, and it's all because of your Instagram page.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's
cool.
epic.
Isn't it
That was
crazy?
pretty cool.
Like when you finally get that reach to people you've never met, like just growing like that, it's kind of a surreal feeling, huh?
It's pretty weird. It's to be honest, like if we focus on the brand and we're in Glamis, it's still kind of weird when people come up, hey, can I take a picture of your car? Can I see, like, talk to me about your car? It's weird because I'm just there with my daughter and my wife and my buds, and we're just there, and it's like, oh yeah, we have a brand.
Yeah.
But it's like we're there to just be like every other person. It's like, I'm here because I love Glamis, I love riding, love being with my family and my friends, which are like family, and then it's just we have a T-shirt, a clothing
I'm
brand.
guessing you guys move quite a bit of shirts, huh? It seems like it because you guys are always you guys seem to have a lot of new designs. coming out.
We try.
We've had pretty good success. I feel like for as young as we are, and obviously we have a long way to go. We're just getting started, but people have been receptive to the designs, to the ideas. They feel connected to it. The word that a lot of people have used in explaining to me like why they like the brand is like it's relatable, right? It's relatable because like it's simple and it's kind of funny and it's kind of like it's not that serious. The colors are cool and there's always a concept. Like if you look at our designs, there's always a story. There's always a vision. Like something happened that triggered it. Like there's one design, Oldsmobile design. It's a Polaroid, right? And then it's like. It's a view of 2 people in a side-by-side looking up the hill, and there's a car launching off the top of it. And that T-shirt actually was an inspiration from a picture that my brother John and his fiance took. Like my buddy was in the back seat, and he took it, and it was that view through the car, through the roll cage, looking up at Olds, and they printed it and they had it in their toy hauler. And one day it was a windy day in Glamis, and we went inside their trailer, and we're all, having a good time. And then we looked at that picture, we're like, that's a cool ass picture. And they're like, yeah, we should make that into a T-shirt. So then that's where that shirt came. I was like, well, we'll call that Olds, because that picture is looking up at Olds. And then we're like, well, it was a picture that inspired it, so why not make it a picture frame?
A Polaroid.
And we're like, well, let's make it a Polaroid. Like, not just like, we try to not to do things that are just, it's like simple to just do, like, oh, if it's a picture, put it in a picture.
Just think outside the box a little bit.
No, let's do a Polaroid again. Something old, not everybody understands that, but we do, because we're from that generation. And it's like something different, right? Like, you don't normally see that. And so I think that's like, to me, that's the one little difference where like people can relate to it.
Yeah. And again, it also kind of like separates it a little bit, because you can go to Glamis and one of the things that, well, when we started going there, the same shops that were there at Vendors Row, and if you guys never been to Glamis, there's Vendors Row, so there's a bunch of shops. So you can get parts, food, T-shirts, and all that. And I grew up buying the shirts there. It was like the 2 for $20. And there were great designs. I used to buy them all the time. And it was kind of like, all right, let's step up the game a little bit. Let's have some more meaning to these designs, and that's.
Do you guys have your shirts out there?
We do. We actually sell, and we have a really good partnership with Gilmore's Off-Road. It's the big red tent that's out there, and Chris and the team out there they were the first ones to be like, hey, we want your stuff. And it was new to us. We were like, oh my God. First we started doing shirts, and then now this company wants to sell our stuff, and it's been a blessing to have them there and for them to support us. And a lot of the times it's an excuse for us to go out to Glamis. It was like, oh, we need inventory. All right, let's go to Glamis, guys. Load it up. Let's deliver it. Yeah. So we'll take them inventory, and we take the cars, and we make a weekend trip out of it. So we do sell it there, and we're also at Bert's Mega Mall, which is our second.
Cool.
So we sell our T-shirts at Bert's Mega Mall, and again, it's one of those things.
We're trying to get into Bert's. Maybe you can help us out.
There you go. Talk to Neil right now.
No guy.
Yeah, Neil, Zach. Yeah.
Yeah. They're cool, man. Bert's has their. Neil and all the guys at Bert's that we know, they've really like given us the opportunity, and we've always kind of we live around the area, so we bought our first bikes there. So Chris bought his first dirt bike there. I bought my first Banshee there, which I had no business buying at the time, but I bought it, and so we have that like it's that history with them. And they've given us the opportunity to go into retail and kind of learn that space a little bit. Even though we are kind of retail at Gilmore's, it's a little bit different platform when you're talking to Bert's. So it's been a learning experience, a learning curve for us when it comes to that. From the online store to then going to Gilmore's and then doing Bert's.
How rad is that, though, to have people walking past your stuff constantly?
I go there all the time to buy parts, right? So
you go there just to look at your guys' stuff.
Oh, dude, I walk by. I make sure I walk by it.
This guy's picking lints off the T-shirts. It's looking good. It's looking good.
Yeah, but I'm also looking around. I'm looking. I'm like, we need to step our game up here. Like, we need better display. So we're working on a badass display that we're gonna put up there.
Dude, you guys can go crazy with the display.
Yeah,
with the way your artwork is.
Yeah, we're gonna try it. And did you ever get a chance to go to our Sandsport show booth or last Sandsport?
You guys were in Arizona?
No, the Sandsport's the one.
Orange County. No,
Orange County.
We there.
Okay,
we did the Arizona Dirt Show.
Okay, so if you guys went, you guys can understand that we actually put a lot of effort into how we display our product, and not even that. It's like we want people to be like, oh, that's a cool booth. Don't worry about the shirts. Like, if you buy a shirt, that's great. We want you to come in and like feel comfortable with us, because we just want to vibe like with the people and whatnot. And I think that's where like Neil and the companies that work with us and our sponsors and stuff like that are like, you guys are cool people. Like, you're just normal dudes that love riding, and I'm down to mess with you guys, where you guys will throw some product your way, build that relationship, and then maybe a collab down the way or whatever the case may be. But everybody else that works with us, it's pretty cool, man. It's crazy to think how fast it's growing, but we need to like slow it down and be like.
It's so hard to slow down though. When the momentum's there, you just want to keep going.
We do, and we want to. All of us do. We all do.
At first, we were kind of nervous about because we've done a lot of releases, especially now towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of nervous, like, well, let's if we throw all of our ideas out there, then what's going to be left, you know? But honestly, the more ideas that we throw out there and we create, the more the ideas are flowing. Like we have so many, like we constantly have like 3-4 ideas that are on deck at all times.
That sketchbook is like
Well, look
gold.
at like Buttery Films. That guy's constantly. I mean, he's.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever run out of ideas. I think it gets difficult. You get like writer's block as like a musician. Or something,
Yeah,
but,
I've heard about that before.
Yeah. So we do worry about that, but at the same time, we're like, you know what? Like it's we're just gonna keep putting shirts out there. You know, we have people that come to our booth that will tell us like, they'll come up and I'll try helping them out. Like, you know, what can I help you with? And they'll be like, well, what do you have new? I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like we have this one. No, I already have that one. Like, what about this one? Like, no, like I have all your shirts. Like I'm here for what do you guys have new? So that's when we were like, oh shit, like we think we have a lot of designs, but there's people that, you know, maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's the only shirt they want to buy, you know, and so they come and like they'll buy all of our shirts.
have you guys had any ideas of adding a different product that's not shirts, like Glamis Bums PRP door bags?
So the opportunities have been presented certain times and things like that, but you got to keep in mind that we're all professionals. The 5 guys are like, we have our careers, and we never thought that it would get to this point, and now that it is there, it's kind of like, all right, let's we have to think of it differently now, and we're trying to bring more stuff out. Like we've gotten samples of certain like beach chairs and stuff like that, and we want to get to that point, and it's just the time. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we're willing to put it with 5 guys. We always say this in the group, but there's 5 guys. There should never be a reason why things can't get done. It can get split up. So the idea is there. The plan to get to that level is there, and we're going to reach that point, but we'll see what in due time.
Well, I mean, we're starting to do little things. Like we came out with the coloring book, you know, little things for like the kids.
Like a Glamis coloring book?
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, it's actually, I'll bring you one.
Yeah, I have kids.
Oh, dude, for sure they'll love it.
But you can't
color
take it.
too. Yeah,
I
I'll
was
color
saying you
too,
can't
but-
take it away from them though.
Dude, yeah, I'll bring you a couple. One for you, and then one for your girl. You know, it's so much fun. Like, so we got to designing that. It wasn't too crazy. I mean, we used a lot of our artwork and just took out the color and let kids get creative with it. Let them put their take on it. Then we did some other stuff, like we did crosswords.
You guys sell those like currently?
Yeah, we currently sell them, and you know, we plan to sell them in Glamis. I think it'll be a good tool for parents.
Get them off the iPad
You know,
for a little bit. Yeah.
If they're because I know I have kids, and yeah, I can't as much fun as Glamis is. There's times of the day they get bored, you know, and it's like, oh, if it's windy, like what are they gonna do? Like, so that's where the idea came out from. Was like, well, let's create something that the kids can do, and they can kind of like use their creativity and kind of learn about the brand and things like that. And yeah, it's cool. So we do that. We have like lanyards and air fresheners, and you know, we're doing more accessories and stuff like that.
Maybe some socks.
Yeah, some socks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, but it's just like, again, try not to bite off more than we can chew. You know, like at the end of the day, we're a t-shirt brand, and that's what our bread and butter is. So let's keep creating t-shirts. Let's continue to be ourselves.
And if it evolves, let it organically do its thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the word right there. Just let it happen, and when it does, we'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's easy to get it in over your head, you know, to the point where like you're overdoing it, and then now you're stuck with all this inventory, right? So you kind of want to, you know, keep that balance of like you need the inventory, but again, don't overdo it. So it's a
quality over quantity, right? It's like bring out
Yeah.
some bomb T-shirt designs that people actually relate to,
And good quality shirts.
so that's one of the biggest things is that we pride ourselves on the quality of the shirt that we use. You know, so they're super soft, the designs are good, the printing is awesome. We get all our designs printed right here in Southern California, so we pride ourselves on the quality of our merchandise. And if people are like, oh, we have an issue with it, it's like, hey, hit us up. We respond right away to, you know, your email, and we take care of our customers because we wouldn't be here without their support.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Like they're like, oh, I didn't think you guys would respond. I was like, we got you. You know, we stand behind our stuff.
That's extremely important to never lose that. You know what I mean? like on our LSK page, if I respond to somebody, they're stoked that a page with 70-something thousand followers responded. But then on my side, I just look at it as another,
Yeah.
we're just having a conversation, you know. But I think people in general, they're so used to like these celebrities, bigger name influencers that they look up to. They try and reach out to them. Nothing. You know? I think that's super important to never lose that personability with your fan base. You know?
It's what you would want as a person from a company. You hit up Off Road Warehouse, you hit up 4 Wheel Parts or whatever, a manufacturer, Baja Design, and they respond right away. They tell you what's up, like, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. It sucks that you had this issue, and they give you that feedback. You're like, oh, that's why I support that company, and that's why you continue to buy that product because of that support that you get. Well, we want to provide that to our people too, and it's like, it is a clothing brand, but we're gonna make sure that you're happy with it. You know what I mean? That's what we sell. Going back to like other product, bread and butters, t-shirts, sweaters, swag. We're gonna make sure that you're happy with what you get from Glamis Bums.
I need to get one of those hats, by the way.
Hey, one off right here.
Is it?
Yeah, it doesn't have this.
You can't show up with a one-off hat, you know?
We'll get you a custom one.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll give you a one off, and then we'll get you that.
Okay, so let's break down your guys' roles. Let's talk about the other guys too.
Oh yeah.
You want to start with yours?
Well, I mean, we all kind of share the same role. It's just there's a couple guys that aren't here. Obviously, my brother John.
I think you mentioned it earlier. So John and his fiance
Miriam
store all the stuff. They do the shipping and inventory, and then we have Alex, which does a lot of, and we dealt with it right now before the podcast, is a lot of the social media, and he's also
that was okay.
That's Alex, but he's also he's the one that has the eye. So if you guys enjoy the Instagram page and the quality pictures, that's Alex right there.
Yeah.
He has a really good eye for just capturing moments. And a lot of them don't even get put on the page. They're more like us playing with our kids in the sand, and just he captures those moments, and you're like, wow, he has a good eye. So that's what he does. We have
on top of a lot of things.
On top of a lot of other things, and he's really good on photo editing and all that, like Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and all that stuff. So that's kind of like where he takes that role. I really do a lot of like the sketching and stuff like that. They give me ideas, text me, hey, do this, start sketching. And then who else? Izzy, he does a lot of like dealing with like the catalog that we have for like our wholesale or Birds or Gilmore's and stuff like that. So
he's in sales, so he kind of will
that's
help
his
us
profession.
Figure out like what the percentage of markup should be, and where we're profitable and things like that. He's always thinking about numbers, right? So he's really instrumental in that.
What do you guys do away from Glamis Bums?
Oh, individually, I own a shop. So my shop's name is Piston and Gears Garage. Shameless plug. And so I fix side by sides.
Yeah, I tagged you on Instagram today, dude.
Oh, did you? Nice. I
didn't even know it was you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's my shop. I started that just kind of naturally. Actually, I started that brand because I was building custom cafe racers. And I was turning that into a business, and then it just kind of evolved into like, because of the Glamis Bums, into like dirt bikes, quads, side by sides. But that's what I do.
Custom build shop or just mechanic maintenance?
Maintenance, custom builds,
Yeah.
and a little bit of everything. I've worked on. So I started out as a diesel mechanic, and then I kind of evolved into like, I've always worked on my own boat, jet skis, dirt bikes. Anything that you could think of,
Combustion motor, baby.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Where are you located?
West Covina.
Nice.
So that's what I do. But before that, I was a manager. So I was a diesel mechanic, worked my way up through the ranks. I actually ran a shop for Penske, truck leasing. I was a manager out of City of Industry. I had 800 trucks that I was in charge of, and like 40 employees, and hated every day of that. So me and my wife decided to do our own thing. We've been on that endeavor for 2 years now.
Does she help you out with the shop?
Yeah, so
Nice.
she does like a lot of the billing and stuff like that. So she has her own little part-time job, but she does a lot of the internal stuff. But that's just us. I mean,
John,
he's actually my brother John. He actually works for the county. He started off like as a apprentice or cement worker.
Yeah, so he's like a cement like finisher, but then he just
Works.
Yeah, public works.
It's like public works, anything fixing streets. But now he's worked his way up through the ranks, and now he's getting ready to get promoted to be full-time operator. So he'll be operating excavators and all that stuff. So that's what he does. Izzy's a manager at HD Supplies.
Yeah, HD Supply White Cap. So he
White
does
Cap,
the
yeah.
sales
White
part.
Cap.
Yeah.
So that's why he deals with like numbers and like that's what he does for like big construction sites. So he understands like invoices and product leads and how much money you should be making off of profit margins and all that stuff like that. So that's what he takes care of. Alex,
He works for he
'Cause
works
he's
for,
had, like,
he works for the city of some city in LA. I'm not sure of the city, but he's kind of in charge of like the elderly, right?
it's like where they have like
He's a manager.
like a hospice home kind of deal but for the county.
He works on developing programs for the elderly.
Yeah.
And he's an interesting guy. He loves kids, so he started working in like the youth section, and then that position presented itself, and he's got like 3 masters or something like that. Like
Yeah.
he's a pretty smart guy, and
He worked for Park and Recreation as like a manager and doing like all the programs for like summer programs, camps for like most likely LA City Unified. But then he kind of went above that and got another educational master's, and then he does his current job. So that
Sounds like he likes school.
Yeah, I mean he has his career now, and he dabbles with this, and he has another.
He actually owns another brand,
Yeah, so he has that eye for
What brand?
Uplift Apparel.
yeah. So if
You
you've
should
ever
check
been
him out. It's more like tailored towards like reggae. So he used to host a lot of like reggae festivals. Like he used to tour with like Fortunate Youth and Ayaterra. Like he's good friends with all those bands. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so
we respect what he says. When he says it, it's like I
Yeah,
got that
yeah.
eye. It just come
Yeah.
on, guys, you got to be on it. All right,
so
let's do it.
he has that brand that he built, a very good brand, great quality shirts, having the same things, very similar style to us. We just put the Glamis taste on it. But he's been instrumental in like kind of showing us the way. Like we obviously have lived the life, and we kind of came up with the idea for the name and the lifestyle. But then he came around and really was the one that was like, well, you guys can brand this.
Yeah,
Like,
we got something here.
Yeah, you have something here. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you guys make T-shirts? So it started with a cap shirt. Actually, he designed it. He created it. We had. If you guys have ever seen our circle tee, he created. It was very simple. It was like a tent, a dirt bike, and a fire. And it was a circle tee. It had Glamis Bums on it. He created that, and we made it for our camp. And then we started wearing it around town, and people kept asking us like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And we're like, "Oh, it's our camp shirt." It's like, well, "That's a cool name. Like, where can I buy it?" Like, "Oh, it's not for sale."
When you say camp shirt, it was just your group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so he was the one that was saying we should make it a brand, and then I think him and my brother talked, and then my brother was like, "You think we could make it a brand?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll make some shirts." So he made some shirts, brought them out to like New Year's one year, and gave everybody in our campus shirt. And we were all stoked, like, "Hell yeah, we have a Glamis Bum shirt!" Like, it was cool, right?
We made it.
Well, we always heard, like, we always told ourselves we were Glamis Bum, but we never had a shirt,
You're
right?
just walking tall everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Glamis Bum. So
Yeah.
it was cool, man. I remember being super excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, and then people started asking us about it, and then the way it evolved is once we started getting an interest, he came up to us and was like, "You guys serious about this? Like, you guys want to start a brand?" Like, yeah, it kind of sounds pretty cool. And then he's like, "All right, well, let's have a meeting." So we actually had the meeting in my garage, and he showed up. We all showed up to a meeting like unprepared, right? We didn't know what the hell we were doing. And he shows up with like a laptop, and he had created this website. And he's like, "All right, well, this is what the website will look like. This is kind of how it goes. This will, you know, he had like a screen printing machine at home, and he's like, I'll print the shirts. Like, you guys come up with we'll create the shirt designs. I'll print them, and then we'll kind of all run the website." And we're like, "All right, cool, that'll be fun." So we're like, "All right, well, how much are we putting in?" And we're like, well, how much do we need? And he's like, well, how about we do $100 each? No, 300.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's do $300 each. All right, cool. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I could play with $300. You know, if I lose it, I lose it.
For shirts, that was it?
Well, to start, like, you had
Just to do a drop.
to do everything, like,
Well,
all right,
okay.
this is what we need to get started. Buy some blanks. I'll start printing, and then it was like, here, website's live.
So then we
It's
joked,
like,
right?
what?
We joked. We're like, I think my brother was like, hey, how about this? Like, we're all drinking, having a good time in my garage, and he's like, how about this? He goes, how about we don't leave the garage until we get our first online sale? And we're like laughing, right? Like, that would be funny. Like, we're going to be here all night. You know, we'll be shit-faced by then. And so shortly after that, we get a little ding. We get our first online sale. We're like, oh, shit,
what?
we got our first sale. So we're all pumped up. And then all of a sudden, it's like ding, and then ding, and then ding. And then, dude, that whole night, all of our phones were just blowing up. Like, we were selling all these shirts. And then the realization kicked in. We looked at each other. We're like,
But keep in mind, it was the original. It's a circle, Glamis Bums, a little tent, a dirt bike, and a flyer. That was a shirt that we had,
yep.
and that's what started it all right there.
And
We call it the original tee.
What do we call it?
The
iconic tee, I
Iconic
think.
tee, yeah.
So then the realization kicked in. It was like, holy shit, we don't even have shirts. Like, we hadn't, at that point, we hadn't bought no shirts. We didn't even, like, we didn't have the material or nothing. All we had was
Just
the
the
idea.
design.
The design.
But Alex, he knew, like, I have some blanks at home from his brand. He's like, well, don't worry, I got some blanks at home. He goes, I'll fulfill these orders. Let's get that money that we just put in, and we'll get a shipment of merch, and then we'll have it on deck. So when the orders come in, I'll print as we go.
Mm.
So that's kind of how it started, and then it just kept evolving, and then what really put us on the map, to be honest, is when we sat down one day. We're like, okay, now we got some online sales, we got some money in the bank, like, let's create a badass shirt. Like, now we could afford to, like, pay for, 5-color print. Like, let's get some color on it. Let's get some artwork on it. Like, let's build a badass shirt. And probably one of the hardest shirts we ever designed, and that was the beer can shirt.
And that's
And
still
that-
our top, probably our
It's
top sale.
Still our top seller.
Yeah.
And that put us on the map because when we released that shirt online, we did a pre-order. Because Alex was like, well, let's do a pre-order. Let's see what the interest is, right? So, all right, we did a pre-order. We put 200 shirts on pre-order. And when we released it, we sold out 200 shirts, I want to say like in 2 or 3 days. Sold out online. Boom, done. Fuck, all right. Well, we put the pre-order for 2 weeks from then. So then we're like, all right, well, there's people still want to buy it. So let's do another pre-order. So we ended up doing 2 pre-orders of 200, and we sold out both times. And then when we finally released it, we had to print it again, and that shirt just always sells.
Yeah, it's our number one. We even, if you've been on our website, glamisbums.com, make sure you check it out. Little plug. But if you've been on the website, people were buying it so much, and they were buying it for their kids, that it's a beer can design. And they started taking pictures of it with their kids at school, and it's like, oh, maybe we should make it a little more appropriate for... I'm an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, like, I would send that, it's a beer can. They
Yeah.
can't have that at school. It's like, whatever, But so that's when the idea started flowing. We did a little juice box for it. And that's still like our number one kids shirt. Juice box, beer can.
It's pretty rad.
And it's
Yeah.
it's like, those are the things, or the concepts that we think of, like, outside the box. And it's
So-
just gone from there.
If you look at that design when you get a chance, a lot of people don't really look at the details into that juice box. But look at, how like every juice box has like a
Nutritional
effect. Just look at that. And so we kind of did it to like we tailored it towards like a little kid thinking. And
Yeah, I'll check it out.
And it was pretty funny. It's like
Rev
little things like that
yeah.
that we try to think about.
Yeah. Had little
And-
sayings in there. It was cool.
Yeah. No, that's rad. What do you guys have coming up? Maybe for this next season, for the brand, for what you guys have planned. What's going on?
Well, I mean, obviously we got. I don't know if we want to talk about the doors or hold off on that.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I think that's a pretty cool one. So yeah, we teamed up with the LSK, and they actually provided us with some doors, which honestly exceeded my expectations. Like I see them on
Appreciate
picture. No, really, honestly, like that's why I told you I'm super happy that we're working with you guys, because it wasn't until I got the package and I started putting the doors together and like looking at the quality of it, like just the gas struts and just everything about it. I was like, man, freaking love these doors. And you can tell they're quality built. And then when we did the tour with you, we saw that you guys make them here, and they're made in house, and we're like, damn, fucking made in America right here. I'm seeing it with my eyes, like it's badass.
Yeah.
The facility is crazy. When you first gave us that tour, it's so. My thinking all the time is these parts cost a lot, but the engineering, the effort, the time that you guys are putting into it, it's like this is why it's worth.
You don't really think about it. Before this, I've never worked for a company like this, and watching, we've done so many new products in the last 5 months, but going from a thought to design to production, manufacturing, all that stuff, to finally get on the website is so much going on.
Yeah, so
and
much work.
people don't see it. They just see it on the website. It's for sale.
They see the product. Do I like it? There's a couple seconds where you have them to be like, do I like it or not? And what's the price?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times as you as the seller, you're like, well, there's a lot of effort, passion into this product. And it's like, well, I know it's worth the cost because of the quality that you guys, are putting out.
No,
so.
not everybody, you don't see that much quality through social media, right? You see doors on a car, a cage with a tube chassis trailer. People see the price and they freak out. But the craftsmanship behind it is worth something.
Correct. Yeah. And if you appreciate it, if you're in this industry and you've been here for a while where you progressed from like dirt bikes, quads, Razor 900s, and all, you understand that safety is everything and quality is everything because you want to buy it once and be done. You don't want to keep on breaking stuff, buying it over and over again. So that's when like cry once. What is it? Buy once, cry once, and be done.
Yep. You get what you paid for, man.
So
there's a saying in Spanish. It goes, "Lo bonito sale caro," and what that means is what's cheap ends up costing a lot.
Yeah,
and it's so true. Like you try to go cheap, and then you end up having to buy the expensive part anyways because you break the cheap stuff.
Or you buy the cheap thing over and over and over again. Trying to justify it.
Either way, you're gonna eventually end up spending just as much as you would if you buy quality. And guess what? It's gonna save you time and the headache, right? Like nobody wants their shit broken. Like that's the worst part of anything.
Being broken down in Glamis is, and it's happened to us quite a bit. Talking about that, where parts break and you're just like, I'm screwed out here. Yeah, that's scary. It's scary out there.
We got stories for Glamis. Like obviously, I don't think we have enough time on this podcast. We'll probably do it another day.
Maybe when all the other guys get in here.
Yeah.
You guys can.
We got some fun stories, dude. These stories, they include BJ Baldwin, Robbie Gordon, a guy spitting fire.
And then his face catching on fire.
This guy catching on fire and then getting back to camp and all of our shit was stolen.
You racing BJ?
Me racing BJ Baldwin in my
and XP I was in his car.
Did you win?
He got a gash on his wheel from BJ's car.
I will say,
give him a love tap.
He probably wasn't racing. I was, right? He was probably just having fun, but I took it serious, and I was like, "This is BJ Baldwin. This is probably my only."
What was he
chance.
driving?
He was driving a
4C 900,
4C XP 900 that had a turbo and King shocks. But the thing is, he had a full car. He had 4 people in the car, and I had a 2-seater with 2 people, so I had an advantage. But I had a stock 900. And so, you want to hear the story or should we save it? Oh, dude, this is an epic story.
I was in the car with BJ.
We might make this the teaser for Instagram. So
yeah. I was in the passenger seat with BJ.
So this is the story of where Carlos and Chris raced BJ Baldwin. Go.
Yeah. So we were at Old's partying one night, and we had like a jerry rig speaker, right? And we had some lights and an ice chest and a table set up, and my buddy Dorian was head down in the ice chest, about to grab a beer, and then somebody taps him on the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey, I'll trade you one of those beers for an energy drink." And so he like looks and he sees, and it's a Speed energy drink, and so he like grabs it, and then he's thinking like, "Hell no," but then he looks and it's Robbie Gordon, and so he goes, "Hell yeah." So he goes, "Here, I'll trade you." So they trade, and then shortly after, BJ shows up with his little entourage, his buddies, and a bunch of cool guys too, like Kid Cope, and then remember
Oh, the fighter, the UFC fighter.
yeah, him, and a bunch of cool ass cats, and they were just looking for somewhere to hang out. And they're like, "Hey, do you guys mind if we kind of crash your party?" Because like I guess they had drove around, and they're like these fools have a nice setup. Like they have lights, they have nice chairs, they have music, we have a table. So we're like, "Oh yeah, of course, dude! Like let's party." So then we end up by the end of the night, we end up having a table with a flip cup tournament. So it's Robbie Gordon and BJ Baldwin at the end of it, anchoring it, and then we have a line of people, and it's a flip cup elimination.
Oh, and Robbie Gordon didn't know what flip cup was,
Oh,
so we had to teach him how to do flip cup. So Robbie's right there. We're playing with flip cup with beer, and he's like, "Well, I don't want beer." He had Gentleman Jack, so he's like, "Well, how about we play with this?" And I was like, "If you want to." So we started pouring Gentleman Jack. Keep in mind, we were 21. We were ready to rage and party. He's an older cat. He's like throwing the
He's
Gentleman
probably
Jack.
party harder than us, I'll tell you that right
But
now.
point being is, we started playing flip cup with Gentleman Jack with BJ and Robbie Gordon, the anchors on that, at Oldsmobile Hill, kicking it right there at midnight, just raging out, just playing flip cup, drinking.
So we do this flip cup tournament, and of course our team wins. BJ Baldwin all the way for the win, and by that time we had created a crowd, so everybody knew who they were. Like their cars are all lit up. This is before like people had underglow lights. So I think BJ had like all green lights. That's when he was a monster, and so all these people started surrounding us. And before you know it, like our beer ran out. Like we didn't have enough to feed all these guys, right? But people were so entertained with what was going on that people started coming and dumping beer into our ice chest to be like, keep the party going. And so it ended up being this big old thing. By the end of the night, one of my cousins asked BJ Baldwin, like, "Hey, dude, how about a ride in your Razor?" This is when like not everybody had Razors, right? And he's like, "Let's go." So he jumps in the car, and then as soon as he said that, everybody starts to try to get into the car. So me and him like run over there, and I think he gets in, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like I couldn't get on, so I was kind of bummed out. And then I see them all strapping up, and I'm kind of bummed at the moment. And then my other buddy turns and goes, "Why are we just gonna watch them? Like you have XP 900 right there." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So I jump in my car. He jumps in with me, and they take off, and we take off after them, and we're running behind them. And then I start catching him up. And he pulls over, and then so I stop and like, "Everything cool?" And he's like, "Yeah, my suspension's too soft."
He's all doing the clickers on it.
So he starts adjusting the suspension, right?
King shocks.
And I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." And then he like after he did that, he went down for a little bit and he flipped around, and so I flipped around with him. And by this time, we had kind of been playing with each other a little bit, and so I think like we kind of got into the moment, and then we start hauling ass back towards Olds down the main highway, and all of a sudden the road kind of bottlenecks, and so we're both coming up to this road, and we're like neck and neck because again he has a full car, 4-seater, and somebody had to check it out, and it's either him or me. So I didn't let off the gas, and so he did because he probably had a lot more to lose than I did, and so he kind of lets off the gas at the last moment. I kind of get in front of him, and then we go to Olds, and then the night ends. Whatever, we get back to camp, wake up. And then we're looking at my car, and then what do I see? Is my rear hubcap has a ding in it with a green slash on it because his roll cage was green. So, and that last little push, his bumper actually tapped my wheel. So, like, that's how close we came doing that little turn.
You still have that piece?
I sold it, dude. I never watched. Whenever I watched
That's
the car,
so funny, dude. This story.
yeah. Whenever I watched the car, I never watched that hubcap. That I sold the car with that green streak on
Like
it.
a kid, they got like a hat signed or something.
Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
when our wives see this video, they'll be like, "Oh my god,
dude.
the story again." Because it's always one of those like, "Do we rage with BJ and Robbie?"
Yeah, it's like our camp story,
like a
right?
camp
So
story.
everybody in our camp has heard it 20 times. So even our own friends are like, "Oh," they start rolling their eyes.
I know, but dude, we lived it. We were there. It was
like,
one of those
because
epic.
they weren't there, dude. Like for us, it was a.
It's kind of like a once in a lifetime.
yeah,
memory,
dude.
you know?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
So in between all this, right, when I told you there was like a big crowd, there's some guy that really wanted to impress BJ Baldwin. His friends called him Rábano. Rábano in Spanish means
what are those, like a turnip, the little red things, right? When you eat them with tacos, like tacos asada, like they're red with
The
the
radish.
White. Oh,
Radish, yeah.
there it is. I was saying
That was on
turnip.
Yeah,
Turnip's
so-
like in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a radish, so they call them rabs. Later on, we found out why. So he comes back and he's trying to impress BJ and Robbie. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to see a trick?" And we're like, "Hell yeah!" Like, what kind of trick? He's like, "Oh, bring me some gas." And we're like, "Okay." So he gets a water bottle full of gas, right? And he puts it in his mouth. And he gets a lighter.
Just
and
straight gas.
Yeah, straight gas.
Busts out this huge flame, right?
Aren't they supposed to mix that with water or something?
No,
I don't know.
Well, whatever. He looked
think
like he knew what he was doing, and he did it the first time.
I want to
so.
say it was straight gas. So he does it, and everybody's like, "Hell yeah, that was sick!" And then, who was it, BJ or you?
Me, I was like, let me see that again.
And then there, I guess people ask him, "Do it again, do it again." And he goes, "All right, I'll do it again." So he pours gas in his mouth, and he's getting ready to blow this second thing of fire. And then this guy was like, "Hold on, let me get my phone." And the guy's like, "Okay," like
It's
gas in his mouth.
dripping
It
down
starts
his lip.
dripping down his mouth, and then he goes to light it, and because he had been dripping it, all the fumes were in his face.
Well,
So he-
it went like that.
It goes out and it comes back and lights his face on fire, dude. And this guy's on fire right in front of us, and we're like, "Oh shit!" So we're like, "Get on the ground!" So he jumps down, and this guy starts kicking sand on his face just to put it out.
Smothered the
man.
fire,
They
dude.
burn his face.
Oh yeah. So when he got
But, I
up-
mean, it was red, but he was like, "What?"
So that's what they call him, radish.
Probably.
so that's why it's so funny because I don't know if that's why, but
Does he do this every time? Every time he tries to do a fire show and burns his face.
We've never met him. I saw that video once on YouTube, like shortly after.
Yeah,
we
it's out
found
there.
it, and then,
Somebody filmed it.
yes, I did, but other people didn't put it
You
on
should find it and
YouTube.
send it to me.
I wish I had it, dude. It was on an old like Android phone, but
I'll just
It
look
was
up
on
like
YouTube.
radish fire breather.
oh my
Should be
god,
fun.
dude, it was one of those like, oh shit, grabbed sand and just threw it
At
in
least
his
you guys
face.
were in the sand though.
Yeah, smothered
yeah.
to fire, and
yeah, it was pretty scary, like in that moment, like to see somebody catch on fire like that. But I remember like BJ and Robbie were just
Everybody was
cracking
like-
up. They were
everybody
just
was-
like, "What the hell just happened?" And I remember like that. I think right after that was the Baja 500, and I remember like BJ Baldwin, like he was making posts about going to the Baja, and then in between one of those, he was like thinking back on that night, and it was actually a video of that guy blowing the fire. So like it was just as memorable to him as it was to us, to see that.
it was just one of those things. Like, oh my god, dude, the things that happen in Glamis, stories for days. But
Yeah, we have a ton of stories, but that's probably one of our most requested.
or given without requesting,
It's the most
we give it.
requested. No, it's requested.
Yeah.
Everybody says no, but they want to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's cool to sit here and talk to you guys and
Appreciate that, man.
hear about your brand and hear about the history of you guys. And we'll get you guys on again, maybe middle of next season. Try and get all the guys out here.
Yeah, man.
That'd be cool.
Get a little update of you guys. And do you guys do any YouTube stuff?
We dabbled in it. We're gonna start doing more of that.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a page?
we
Yeah,
do.
okay, yeah.
YouTube.
Is it just Glamis Bums?
That's right.
So shoot them a subscribe on YouTube and then follow them on Instagram,
Yep.
Glamis Bums, and then you guys' website.
The website, we got all our merch, and when you follow us on Instagram, we give you guys all the updates on the drops and all that stuff like that.
Put in a request for these one-off hats.
I know, right?
They're pretty sick.
And a giveaway, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, we never finished talking about the giveaway. So we're doing a collab with Glamis Bums and doing a Pro XP 4-door giveaway.
Yep.
Ooh,
It's gonna be sick.
that's
So I think we're going to be shooting that out in Glamis.
That'd be
make
ideal.
it proper. Make
Yeah.
it proper.
That would be ideal. Yes, I think that's where we got to do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to get the car out there with those doors in the wrap. Yeah, but I'm excited about that. Somebody's gonna be super stoked.
and you've already been out there with those doors, just not wrapped yet.
Yeah, not wrap.
Yeah. So we saw Dirt Life Media send me some pictures. You guys sent me some pictures.
Yep.
Right? You guys
Yeah.
had the doors then.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, be on the lookout for the giveaway. Should be dropping here in the next few weeks.
Cool.
So, yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Dude,
Yeah, man,
thank you.
likewise.
We'll see you
So
guys
much
next
fun.
time.